Hello people, it's me doing a review for WandaVision Season 1, Episode 8. I just knew this was going to be the second to the last episode, and I was pumped up for this because, the last two episodes, and I was a little disappointed to find out that this was just going to be another standby episode and just wait for the grand of the next couple episodes. But this episode was really well done, even though it didn't exactly drive the story forward. I really did like this episode, and even though it's not exactly what I wanted out of it, it provided something that I didn't even know that I wanted. I still would prefer it a little bit more of a story-heavy second to last episode than exposition, but this exposition gave a lot of backstory that I really did enjoy. And yeah, anyways, let's get into what I didn't like. This is this was like the typical second to last episode. Like, I was afraid that they were gonna do something like this, like, oh, we're just gonna stall and it's gonna be the same, it's basically the same thing until the very end when they set up the last episode. It's going to be a crazy cliffhanger and whatnot. And of course, we did get exactly that. We're going to be discussing full spoilers in this review as well. Another thing I didn't like, spoilers, Agatha's costume design, it felt very basic. It didn't, and it was just a little much to me. The second I saw her costume, I was like, yeah. I was like, put it back to the other design where she was just kind of walking around with the bunny. That was almost better to me because it felt a little bit more original, because like, of course, she's in the purple wardrobe or whatever. It was very basic. Well, who knows, it might change. And yeah, that's what I didn't like about this episode, but let's get into what I did like. The flashbacks, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the idea of them, they were all done really, really well. Excuse the dishes that you hear going on in the background. The flashbacks, they were all really, really, really well done, and I was really engaged in all of them. Like I said, it builds up the last episode very, very well, but it also kind of makes my concerns with the last episode. As the more they set up, the more my concern rises, because I'm suspecting it's gonna be the longest episode. The last episode is gonna be about an hour, I'm assuming, and if they do that, they had to do a lot. They have to supposedly open the multiverse. 2, they have to put an end to this Westview storyline. 3, they have to explain what the whole Vision situation's going on. And 4, there's supposedly supposed to be an epic battle in an hour. So I don't know if they can accomplish that, because they just did an episode where it was 47 minutes of just explaining stuff. So I don't know if the show is even capable of explaining that much in an hour of what they're supposed to do. Who knows, they might leave some of that to Doctor Strange too, but that'll just ultimately be kind of unsatisfying of an ending. But who knows, they're just trying to, maybe if they do that, it'll feel like such like a cash grab, like we're just waiting for you to see the next movie. But who knows, they might pull it off. I'm just saying my concerns for the next episode. This episode was good, but yeah, it raised my concerns for the last episode even more. There's a lot of little details in this episode that just made me like the rest of the series even more, especially when you see the flashback where where she's in Sokovia and their home is attacked, and you see the Stark missile, and it's going beep beep with the red dot. In the very first episode, they have that microwave oven have that same exact pattern and red light flashing. And little details like that just makes me appreciate everything more. This whole entire episode sprinkled with that. Like I said, all 4 flashbacks were visually interesting, and they were all great. They were all really interesting. Of course, we have the Sokovia storyline, and then of course we have the Wanda taking Vision, which was out of this world crazy to see, like Vision's body literally on a table like that. And then you have where she creates Westview, and what was the other one? Oh yeah, and the flashback sequence from Civil War, and that even made me, Civil War is my favorite Marvel movie, and so that even made me like Civil War even more. It built on other things, it made me appreciate the show more, and that's what flashbacks are supposed to do. They're supposed to make you appreciate things more, and they did all 4 of the flashbacks very, very well. Even though it was kind of filler for the last episode, it wasn't terrible. I enjoyed it because it gave me stuff I didn't know I wanted to see it, and to see the events of Sokovia, of when she was little, play out exactly how she described it, was just like, I'm glad we're getting this on screen, because it's almost like Wanda deserves this, at least this kind of backstory. And yeah, Agatha could be a little bit of an exposition mouthpiece in this episode, but overall, it's a good episode. It just made me concerned for the last episode. I'm not going to let my concerns for the last episode affect the score, because this was a pretty good episode. It did kind of play the typical second to last episode on me a little bit, but of course that it was done really well. So I'm going to give this episode a pass. I'm going to give it an 8.6 out of 10. Just letting you know, like I've said this many times in my WandaVision reviews, my scores are always changing, because the more information we get, the more it builds on the other episodes, which affects my scores and may go up and may go down. And so I'm just saying, the biggest drastic change is my opinion on episode 4. At the time I gave it an 8, and I'll just say it now, it's a 7 now. Because I think that episode lost a lot of the flair that the show had. It had lost a lot of the style the more I go back to it. And so that's the most drastic change I've had to a score. A couple episodes I've gone up 1 or gone up 2, or, well, not like 0.2, like it went from like an 8.1 to an 8.3, or like something like that. So none of the scores were too drastic. So I will be doing a ranking of the episodes, and so when you guys see the ranking, don't think to yourself, wait, you gave this a better score when you initially blah blah blah, and then why is it above this? What? Just take it for what it is, because my scores are always changing, especially for a show. Of course, this is just an example for this show. Like shows like Mandalorian, they're so episodic to the point where I could just stick with the score whenever it comes out. So yeah, anyways, like I said, this episode is 8.6. So yeah, that's my review for WandaVision Season 1, Episode 8. So like, share, subscribe, and stuff like that, and adios.